Yo, what's going on, fellas? Six Pass Dunga back again with yet another video. Okay, so this is a video I more or less wanted to react to. I mean, I really have a lot to say on this topic. I think I said a lot in the past or made a few videos on it, but now that it's been confirmed as of chapter 24, I feel like I gotta make one more video on it before it happens. And of course, I'm talking about Daemon versus Mamushi. So if you guys are new to the channel, you may have subscribed like this past week, this past month. Actually, let me know how long you've been subscribed, how long, roughly. You don't have to be exact. Just let me know roughly how long have you been subscribed to this channel. But anyway, for those who don't know what the heck is going on right now, usually around maybe 3 times a month, I go ahead and react to creators that I think are well underrated. It's more or less to shine some light on the Boruto community because we have a lot of talented creators that I personally don't feel get the recognition they need. So this is kind of like shedding some light on their hard work as creators. And Sharkname, I reacted to a few of his videos, really good content creator. I have a list of smaller content creators that I think is really underrated, and of course the ones that you see on my channel, but there's a lot that I haven't even gotten to yet. But I'm always down to expand that list, so you know what? Right now, go in the comment section and comment down any other small content creators, Boruto content creators, but any smaller Boruto content creator you watch or think his or her content is worth watching. But anyway, we're gonna be watching the real reason why Mamushi will easily defeat Eida and Daemon. Let's see if he brings up any familiar points. Before we get into the video though, make sure you guys go subscribe to Sharkname. He makes great content. This video is at 93 likes by the time I'm reacting to it. So you know what? Let's see if we can get this to 100. We should be able to get this to 100. That should be slight work for us. I'm gonna leave the link to his channel down below in the description, so go check him out. But anyway, let's get into the video.
Mamushi would be far more terrifying than any other divine tree human, but the factor is actually because of a phrase referred to as love. Yeah, I don't know exactly what sentence is appropriate to describe today's topic, but at least it is what it is.
It's not only today's topic, but it's the topic of the entire Boruto TBV VORTEX series. I'm interested in seeing how he's gonna interpret love into this video. Like, that's another point I don't think I brought up. Like, I don't know the connection between Mamushi, Eida, and Love, if there's any connection between them. Maybe there was a connection between Bug and Eida that we don't know yet, or something like that. Because as of right now, it really makes sense as of like which Shinju is connected to each target. Like, it makes sense why Matsuri's after Konohamaru, it makes sense why Hidari's after Sarada, and it definitely makes sense why Ryu's after Gaara, or was after Gaara. But it doesn't really make sense why Mamushi is after Eida, or at least it doesn't make as much sense as the others. Actually, we've seen Mamushi the least out of everybody. Like, we've seen everybody else fight, we've seen everybody else interact with other people. It's really Mamushi. We don't know anything about him. He could be one of the stronger ones, or he could be one of the weaker ones. But if you ask me, I don't think he would be weaker than someone like Matsuri. I don't think that's possible. Like, the way they're hyping him up, especially the fact that he could see through Eida's Senrigan, that has to mean something in all hindsight. Like, it can't be nothing. It has to be some type of secret that we're just not seeing. How can he just casually see through a god tier dojutsu like the Senrigan? So going into the next few chapters, maybe like chapter 26 and so on, we're going to be learning a lot about Mamushi. Because I feel like besides JURA, he's one of the more interesting Shinju. Like, if I was to put him on a tier list from interesting to least interesting, Mamushi gotta be in between JURA and Hidari. And at the end of the day, it's my opinion. Like, I could say right now, I don't think Ryu was that interesting. I don't think he was that interesting at all. I mean, right above him was Matsuri. I mean, come on, she's a clone of Moegi. I mean, Moegi's not that much of an interesting character. The only reason she got any relevance right now is because of Matsuri. And I guess if I'm using that logic, Bug isn't that interesting of a character either, but his Shinju clone is kind of carrying him. I'm gonna gap.
Actually, after chapter 24 came out, there are many very interesting things to discuss. But at least for about 8 minutes, we will start from a divine tree human named Mamushi, and also love as a supporting topic. But before that, you should know that Mamushi is the manifestation of a bug, a researcher, but more precisely a technician, and fills a support role in the Kara organization and has a very loyal nature to Jigen or Ishiki. Bug became increasingly important after Ishiki Otsutsuki's death, as he became the only one who understood the intricacies of Kara technology and the Karma Seal in depth, but more precisely about the cyborgs named Eida and Daemon. Because after Amado disposed of Eida and Daemon, Bug was one of the people assigned to guard the place where they were discarded.
That could play a factor
in some
too.
of the latest chapters of Boruto Next Generations, there was a moment where Bug revealed the weakness of Daemon's reflection ability.
The only thing about this, okay, I get that Bug just outright and blurted out Daemon's weakness, but he didn't tell Code the whole truth. I don't know if he's going to show the next panel, but Bug is going to tell Code that beware of Daemon's palms. It's only when he touches you with his palms that he can reflect your ability. And I mean, that's just not true. That's not true at all. Daemon can reflect any attack, even if he's not touching you. He doesn't even have to be fighting you, to be honest. I think it was in like chapter 75. KAWAKI and Daemon wasn't even fighting. KAWAKI was just thinking about fighting Daemon, and those thoughts reflected that malice back onto him. And then you gotta remember when Code used Daemon against KAWAKI in their fight. So there's plenty of situations where Daemon reflected an attack without touching his opponent. So it's actually deeper than that. Either Bug just didn't have enough time to fully explain Daemon's power, or he doesn't know the full capabilities of his Shinjutsu. It's either one of those, because the way he just blurted out this misinformation to Code, it kind of has me thinking, does he really understand the full extent of Daemon's power? Probably not. Probably not. But at this point, who does, right?
In chapter 19, there's a certain reaction that might be worth considering. When Hidari and Jura talk about love as a fatal weakness, for some reason, I get the feeling that Mamushi isn't really interested in the concept of love, something that could actually pose a threat to them. Mamushi's target is Eida, someone who so far knows the most about love. And of course, someone who can make anyone fall for her. But right now, there's one Hitoshinju who isn't affected by Eida's ability at all. And more precisely, he's the only one who can see Eida when she uses Senrigan eyes. Yeah, Mamushi. In conclusion, will Mamushi be the only one who remains unaffected by the concept of love? Something that poses a real threat to the others? Just how terrifying could Mamushi become in the future? Out of context, we all know that Eida's charm ability is not affected by OTSUTSUKI as explained. Does that mean that as a divine tree human, it would apply too? But for this case, I'd love to hear your opinions, guys.
I mean, besides him being a divine tree human, he also has OTSUTSUKI genes. Every one of the Shinju has OTSUTSUKI genes. And that's just all thanks to Code. As we all know, Code has the white karma. The white karma is pure OTSUTSUKI DNA. And pretty much Code is the creator of the Shinju. I think Boruto even said, like in chapter 6, that Code's karma was affecting the Shinju somehow. So it was already implied that the Shinju have some type of connection to the OTSUTSUKI. So it wouldn't be crazy to say that he wouldn't be affected because of that DNA. But that's as far as Eida goes. Like, it's worth talking about Eida in these conversations, but then again it's not, because we pretty much already know that Mamushi can probably devour Eida if he's gonna actually try to do it. But the number one question that we have to answer is, can he beat Daemon? Her knight in shining armor, her protector. We all know the only fight we're gonna see as it pertains to that is Daemon versus Mamushi. You know what the hardest thing to gauge when it comes to Mamushi? It's the fact that we just don't know how far he is in his evolution state. I'm gonna say this quick because I said it before, I actually said it a few times now, but every one of the Shinju is in different stages in their evolution. Let's use Matsuri for an example. And let's also use love and reasoning as a way to determine how far they're into their evolution, because those two are things that Jura emphasized when talking about humans. So when it comes to love, right, we all know despite Konohamaru being Matsuri's target, she just couldn't bring herself to attack him. And we all see that. The number one reason of why that is because she was in love with Konohamaru. But if she could comprehend those feelings and control it, or like Jura said, conquer it, then it would be no problem. But throughout that whole situation, she just couldn't figure out essentially what she was feeling. She didn't know what she was feeling was love. So that ended up being her downfall. But the number one thing we gotta understand is she was able to feel love. She wasn't able to perceive it, but she was able to feel it. In comparison to someone like Hidari, who came face to face with Sarada, but we all know his reaction when he seen Sarada, he just straight up attacked her, tried to kill her on the spot. And the main difference between Hidari and Matsuri, Hidari is just not more evolved than Matsuri. That's it. I promise you that's it. Throughout the whole time Hidari was in Konoha, he seemed a bit slower than the rest of the Shinju. He seemed slower to catch on to certain things. And that's just because he's not as evolved as the others. So he doesn't have the capacity to feel love or perceive it. And he doesn't have any reasoning either. So as soon as he seen his target, he just attacked her straight on without any other thought. And the Shinju's evolution process can actually be their downfall in a fight. Because if they're evolved too much, you can end up like Matsuri, feeling a type of emotion and not knowing what's making you feel that way. So it could just drive you crazy inside, which it did for her. Like, if you was to swap Hidari and Matsuri in those situations, as soon as Matsuri sees Konohamaru, she's just attacking him. And it's probably a different result than the one we've seen in the story. That's all I'm saying. So, going back to Mamushi, right? I have to see how far he is in his evolution process. How much reasoning does he possess? Does he have the capacity to feel love? If he can feel love, can he perceive it? But we don't know yet because the story just doesn't show us too much of Mamushi. We need to see more of him. And we're probably going to see more of him in these upcoming chapters. So I can't wait.
Even though we know that every divine tree human has their own target based on instinct, or can also be referred to as the person they love the most, such as Hidari with Sarada, Matsuri with Konohamaru, Ryu with Gaara, Jura with Naruto, and Mamushi with Eida. And in your personal opinion, among them, whose love is the most emotional and selfish? By the way, my bad if I'm not very good at describing love, because I'm personally very bad about love. Anyway, in my personal opinion, Ryu or Shinki's love is the most emotional and selfish love. The reason is because Gaara adopted Shinki as his son. It must be when Shinki is in a difficult condition. This makes Shinki will be obsessed with Gaara. No matter what happens, even the stakes are his own life, he will do whatever it takes to save Gaara. Maybe
Pretty
more
much.
precisely the same as Kawaki, who is obsessed with Naruto. But if the case is based on the topic this time, that is, Mamushi, how did Mamushi's instincts and deepest feelings for Eida lead to Mamushi targeting her? Maybe more precisely, the love that Mamushi has is the love of an ordinary man for a woman. I mean, the point of view of his love must be different from Matsuri's. Because if we go back to the actual facts, Bug fell in love with Eida because of a Shinjutsu that automatically charmed him, right? So, yeah, so far we've understood the concept and background of Bug and also how the concept of love will affect Mamushi to Eida. So that means there are now two possible reasons why Mamushi will become a tree man who is far more terrifying than the others.
Okay, let's see.
Except for Jura. First, based on
always
information at the
except for
beginning
Jura.
that Bug is one of the scientists or technicians working with Boro, we have seen Bug operating a tablet. This gives us information that Bug has the same skills as Amado, although not as genius as Amado. Because at least any information about Kara and some cyborgs is very important. Plus, based on Chapter 19's brief discussion about love, Mamushi gives a gesture or reaction that doesn't seem at all interested in the concept of love. And if at the beginning I asked you guys whether or not Divine Tree humans are unaffected by the charm Shinjutsu, based on my opinion, it's likely that Mamushi won't be either. After all, the base of a Divine Tree human is an innocent beast, right? So that means, I'm guessing that Shinju is the exception to Eida's charm Shinjutsu.
And like I said, also, it would be just because they have that OTSUTSUKI DNA. It has to be the fact that Bug was charmed by Eida, or one of the first ones to be charmed by Eida. And probably he was charmed the longest, maybe. Yeah, maybe he was charmed the longest out of everybody, which is why he's targeting her. So it could be her very power that's going to be her downfall. But yeah, I think it's one of those two. What do you guys think? Let me know. What's the reason why Bug is targeting Eida? It could be as simple as omnipotence, but then again, it could be something deeper.
When Bug first became drawn to Eida, he was just like everyone else. He had feelings for her, a kind of affection that might have been genuinely sincere. But after years of being with Eida, that love gradually changed. From a pure and sincere love, it turned into a love that wanted control. Almost like he wanted to get back at her for all the bad things she had done to him over the years. Because as an analogy, when Mamushi first saw how Jura made Code suffer with the arm that Jura severed, Mamushi mocked Code.
Yeah.
And it was as if he was very satisfied to see Code humiliated like that. In other words,
Bug just doesn't
Mamushi's
like
response
Code.
can be interpreted as the hatred experienced by Bug during his lifetime, and it shows up in Mamushi.
Yeah,
Because,
I think
of
I agree
course,
with that one.
besides Eida
I agree with
or
that
Daemon,
one.
Code is also one of the people who mistreats Bug. For example, dragging Bug into Code's personal problems, which led to Bug being devoured by Claw Grime. Well, if Bug has this kind of response to Code, then what about Daemon and Eida? Of course, he hates them too. Incidentally, he has feelings for Eida, so that feeling of love is an excuse to take revenge for the bad treatment he has received so far.
And it's
in the
also
end,
jealousy.
Mamushi will become extremely dangerous because he once played an important role in the Kara organization due to his knowledge about several cyborgs, including Eida and Daemon. This means that Mamushi, as the manifestation of Bug, likely possesses a wealth of information, including the weaknesses of Daemon, who holds a powerful reflection ability.
Yeah, you say he has this information on Daemon and Eida. Okay, I could understand Eida, but the information he told us on Daemon is wrong. Unless he knows more about it, of course, then that's a different story. But I feel like Daemon's power is so much more deeper than we realize. And it's not simply because I believe Bug just knows about Daemon's Shinjutsu, that's why he'll beat him. If Mamushi was to beat Daemon, it's because of the properties of the Shinju. More importantly, instinct. When you think about Daemon Shinjutsu, the one word you should think about is instinct. Instinctual desire, whatever you want to call it. At this point, we all know how Daemon's power works. He reflects all attacks that's targeted to him. Even thinking about beating him up psychologically will cause that attack to get repelled back onto you. So you can't even think about hurting him. At that point, it's all psychological. That's all I need to hear. That's all I need to see, all I need to hear, whatever. It's all psychological. As humans, when we're attacking somebody, right? Say somebody made you extremely mad and you're just thinking about fighting them. Before you fight them, you're gonna be thinking about fighting them. It's gonna pop into your head that you wanna cause harm to this person for a reason A, B, or C. So in that aspect, you can't really fight anyone without thinking of fighting them. And at that point, you already lost a fight. With the Shinju, it's a different story. Because like I said, we have to know how far Mamushi is in his evolution process. I'm gonna go back to Hidari and Matsuri. When Hidari attacked Sarada, it didn't have any reasoning behind it. It didn't have any type of love behind it, nothing. He just attacked her based on instinct. He's seen her and instinctually in his mind, he started to attack her. He's not thinking of causing harm to her. He's not thinking of attacking her. His body is just moving. It's an instinct. So now, let's just think of fight or flight, right? Let's say you're walking down the street, right? And a dog pops out and starts chasing you. Or if anybody's ever been in that position, they can probably vouch for me. At that moment, you're not thinking of anything. As soon as you see that dog pop out, you're just running. Your body's just moving. Or like, let's say in Naruto terms, right? Everybody remembers the Land of Waves arc, the first arc in Naruto. And everybody remembers when Sasuke jumped in front of Naruto to take the full blunt hit of Haku's attack. I'm gonna put the video up here too. He said verbatim that his body just reacted on its own. It just moved. There was no time for thinking. At that point, he instinctually moved his body. Now think of that, right? Just think of that feeling. But Mamushi can feel that 24/7. Not even Mamushi, the Shinju can feel that 24/7. When attacking somebody, when fighting, they have that conscience 24/7. They're not thinking of hurting you, they're just thinking of devouring you as an instinct. And that right there is how he will defeat Daemon, if he is going to defeat Daemon. Now, of course, Daemon can just touch him with his palms and reflect it anyway. But you know, at that point, it just comes down to like speed. Is Daemon able to touch Mamushi? You know, he already seemed to have like slight troubles with the claw marks, especially if there's a lot of claw marks scattered around the battlefield and him just trying to protect Eida as well. So, you know, that's a distraction. That's holding him back in the fight. So it's a lot of factors that come into play with Daemon versus Mamushi. It's not just as simple as just Bug knowing how Daemon's move works. It's not as simple as just Mamushi knowing how Daemon's power works and now his Shinju clone knows. I mean, it's not that simple. It's much more detailed, much more deeper than that. But I feel like I explained that pretty good. If you have any questions about that, you know, put them down in the comment section. But yeah, that's pretty much how that fight would go. Because of that, I think there's a chance that Daemon's power might not work on Mamushi. And if it doesn't work, we're in for a show. That's the most I can tell you right now.
The last time the tree humans felt love, Matsuri, who was supposed to kill Konohamaru, ended up with a betrayal. Thirdly, aside from being a divine tree humanoid, Mamushi is the only known Shinju who can perceive Eida's Senrigan ability, while the other tree humans cannot. This strongly suggests that Mamushi might also be immune to Eida's alluring Shinjutsu. And even if this theory is eventually disproven and it turns out that Mamushi is affected by Eida's ability, I still believe that, as the manifestation of Bug, Mamushi has enough information to counter Eida's charm-based Shinjutsu. Wouldn't that make sense? Because once again, even Daemon, with all his overwhelming power, had his ability known and understood by Bug. so it's only logical to assume he knows just as much, if not more, about Eida.
So yeah, I pretty much agree with everything he said, but I just added on to his theories and ideas. I do think it's way more deeper than what you guys may think. I don't know what you guys are thinking, but I just think it goes deeper. Why Mamushi is probably immune to Eida's omnipotence and Daemon's reflection ability has to do more with the Shinju than Bug's knowledge on these two characters. So next chapter, we're probably gonna be getting more insight on him as a character, maybe Bug or Mamushi. I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna save that for when I drop my chapter 25 prediction video. And yeah, there's a lot of things that we have to cover as it pertains to this matchup. But that's pretty much all I have to say on that right now. We will learn more later, and then more videos will come out on that topic. But as of right now, this is what I feel. This is my stance. You guys can hate it, love it, whatever, but I'm not budging. I'm not budging until we see something that proves otherwise. But yeah, pretty good video by Sharkname. Like I said, I'm gonna leave the link to his channel down below in the description, so make sure you guys go show him some love, you know. And I guess this is where I'm gonna end it. So if you guys enjoyed this video, it wouldn't mind seeing more like this in the near future. Make sure you guys do the following: like the video, comment, subscribe, and turn on those post notifications so you don't miss whenever I upload or go live for chapter spoilers. And until my next one, I'm gonna see you boys and girls later, and I'm out. Peace.